Another year of beauty, another year of class, another year of excellence. Another year of passion, another year of coronation. Welcome to another landmark year of the CBA Africa Concours d'Elegance. Hello and welcome to the 2018 CBA Africa Concours d'Elegance, the 48th annual event organised by the Alfa Romeo Owners Club and the 7th to be sponsored by CBA. In this year's showpiece event, competitors from all over the continent share the spotlight in a gathering of great elegance. At the heart of the fanfare is an enthralled audience who turn out in their thousands to delight in the now famous family day out.
So I came here to have fun and see the amount of effort people have put in to cover such amount of beauty that we have right now here.
I always come to Concours every other year. All the different types of the vintage vehicles, great company, it's always a party.
We came here because my granddad is one of the oldest people and he used to take part. His car was called the Maharaja.
I'm such an old-fashioned but really young in age. I like the classic cars. I also love the ambience, just coming to hang out with a nice crowd. It's a fun way of spending a Sunday afternoon with friends and family. So yeah, I always look forward to the event every year. Concours 2018.
The stage is set for 2018's class of winners. So join us to find out who was crowned the best of the very best. The Salvation Army Band leads the way in an opening parade that features an Alfa Romeo 2000 GTV carrying the CBA Group Head of Marketing, Chris Pasha.
The Concours is a brand, it's a great brand, a brand that attracts a very affluent, high-end, prestigious clientele. CBA sees a very perfect brand fit. We have a lot of shared values: prestige, elegance, class, quality, interesting. All these are just some of the attributes that we have in common with the Concours.
My name is Kevin Desai. I'm here with my Jaguar 420, manufactured in 1968. Such beautiful cars are the inspiration of today's cars. It was manufactured at a time where the manufacturers put an emphasis towards how good it felt to drive a car and how important it was to feel good.
Another eye-catching class this year is the class for touring cars over 3000cc, where Kevin Desai is looking to stake his claim among the overall contenders. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education was recently honoured as a patron of the Concours, and for yet another year he lived up to high expectations with his 1968 Jaguar.
This car is full of leather, full of wood, full of chrome. It has a very powerful engine. I remember when I first participated, one thing it hasn't changed is that it's always been very, very competitive. And increasingly, year after year, the detail, the attention, the depth that's been sought by the judges is quite extensive. And throughout my time, I've been restoring it for the last 30 years. I've enjoyed repeatedly every part of that restoration. I continually restore it. It's a consistent process, and year after year I come to this event to celebrate my success.
Even with all the attention the Jaguar's getting, Kevin still has to share the spotlight with another heartstopper. Rajesh Lakhani's 1951 Rolls-Royce makes a glamorous entrance up the line. And if the car doesn't impress the judges enough, there is sure to be some extra points for the stylish princess it carries. The Rwandan flag flies high for yet another year as Paul Bukuru parades the first ever Rwandese car entered at the Concours. The 1968 Buick Riviera boasts a massive 7-litre engine the biggest at the Concours this year. Also in contention is the Nairobi City County's 1968 Austin Princess, famous for being the mayor's official car. When all is said and done, it's Kevit Desai's 1968 Jaguar that puts up her dominant display to secure top spot in the class. In the class for street motorbikes up to 650cc, Kenyan competitor Kevin Maimba shows off his 2006 Yamaha V-Star as he hopes to triumph in a class dominated by Hondas. Also in the running for this class is Simon Christie's 1976 Honda CB400F. The beautiful street bike is well known for having been inducted into the AMA Hall of Fame. Simon is a former Concours judge himself and is making a comeback after a long time away from the event.
My name's Kevin. I brought the Vista 650, 2006. I had the bike for 4 years now. It's my daily commute to work. We had to do a lot to bring it up to speed. Yeah, polishing, cleaning, removing everything and then fitting it back on. I washed the bike thrice yesterday. So last wash was at midnight and I still washed it in the morning. So just the work is something else. Well, the attention the bike is getting shows that we did some good job.
In the end, it's Simon Christie who runs away with first place. His 1976 Honda CB400F proves too good for the competition. Next up, a familiar face takes us through his journey of restoring a 1925 Triumph. A former Concours judge himself, Dominique Antoine isn't intimidated by the prospect of working on the oldest bike at the Concours this year.
Hi, I'm Dominique Antoine from Nairobi. Last year's Concours, my son and I, we entered 2 bikes. This year I'm bringing the same 2 motorcycles, the 1925 Triumph 550 SD and the 1959 BSA B33 500cc. Since last year's event, I'm in the process of doing quite a lot of work. I had a clutch problem, which we're working on the clutch now on the Triumph. I've had an exhaust problem on the Triumph, and with the BSA, we had an oil leak on the day and we had the chrome peeling off the tank, which was the big one. Unfortunately, I don't have any number plates for the motorcycles, but I do ride them down the road and back. So I like to ride them very much, but it's a bit difficult, but it is fun. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. Everything must be perfect, and it must work on the day. I hope to do a lot better this year. I'm hoping for number 1.
Competing in a vintage class of motorcycles made up to December 1960, Dominique finds himself squaring up against his son, Andre, who is bringing a 1960 BSA this year. Dominic has yet to win an overall prize at the Concours, but this year, his triumph might well give him a chance.
I've done a lot of paint work, I've done engine work, I've fitted the headlight, I fitted the horn, wasn't there, I've painted the tank and done a lot of paint work, so I've done a lot of work on it. Well, normally we have a bit of an oil leak, but these bikes they've always got a little bit of an oil leak. But the judges, they know that the older bikes have a little bit. And also the brakes, but my brakes are okay, yeah. I'm hoping that I'll be on the podium.
And in the end, it's the old head who triumphs over the young gun. Dominic's superior engine scores are enough to see him edge past his son and claim first place.
My name is Sachit Shah. I'm bringing a 1959 Mercedes 300D Adenauer. I got the car about 4 years ago. That's when I first started collecting cars. And it was one of the cars that was presented to me. The previous owner was not interested in restoring it. He had other interests. So naturally, he thought he needs to go to a home where someone can look after it. It wasn't in a very good condition. It had been left to basically rust, and I saw potential in it. And I thought, well, why not? Let's go for it. The car was in such terrible condition, we had to strip the whole car. This is a total nut and bolt restoration. What you see at the moment is probably we're halfway there, but it has been a journey for over a year where the whole car was stripped. It went to the body shop. He was at the body shop for at least 4 or 5 months because I wanted to make sure that every dent is removed. We've tried to keep whatever original parts we can. We've had to source parts from Germany, Holland, America. It has been a labor of love. Not cheap. It has been expensive to maintain this. But absolutely fantastic. I have a super master restorer.
Well, mechanically, it's 95% done. The wiring has been all replaced. The wiring was in a terrible state, obviously being 60 years old. We're in the process of testing it. So far, things are working. We've tested about half of the functions. Major work remaining to do is the interior, really. This car has a lot of original parts which have some small flaws. You can look here, you can see minor flaws everywhere. It's not a car that you can win the concours with. The pleasure of the concours is just to show it to the public, that's all.
Well, I'm very positive. I've entered it to win. The fact that I've brought it to this stage is a winner for me already. And I've been coming to Concours every year and looking at all the wonderful cars that are presented over there. I thought it's about time I come there with a car and show off what we can do as well.
But standing in his way is one of the Concours' most successful competitors. Gailing May is once again a favourite with his 1967 Alfa Romeo Sprint, a car that won this very class last year. Also in contention is the ever-stylish Joseph Aluoch. His 1991 Mercedes 300 SE is complemented by his dapper fancy dress outfit.
My name is Dr. Joseph Aluoch. I'm bringing my Mercedes-Benz for the 3rd time. It has been here before the last 2 competitions. The first time it was number 2, and last year it was number 3. This car I bought in 1991 as an 18th present for our wedding anniversary with my wife. It was the last of the 126 series imported in Kenya. And I thank God I've never had an accident with this. Nobody has knocked me. I've been driving every day, and it's interesting. I drive it every day from day one. In September 1971, precisely.
That's a really lovely car.
We managed to do everything. In fact, I'm pleasantly surprised. We managed to get everything. Last minute, there were small things like the sun visor. We couldn't get the original, they're just not available. But we managed to find one original in Japan, but it was in terrible condition. So we brought it in from Japan, but we used the frame from there to make a new one.
We completed the interior, which was really a tricky job because it had to be reconstructed from scratch. And after that, it was just fitting the bumpers, fitting the grille, getting a new exhaust made, putting on the new tires, the hubcaps, etc. The major hurdle remaining was the interior, because that took long and that was really make or break for the Concours. It was the interior finish.
We got lucky, we managed to get everything in, and JP worked extremely hard. I'm very grateful for all the hard work he put in. So I got more than I bargained for.
We hope to win most elegant though, because I think it's the most elegant car here. So if we don't win that, something is not fair.
And the class lives up to expectations with the most tightly contested battle this year. Gayling's 1967 Alpha Sprint edges past Satchit's Mercedes with only a single point separating the two cars. It's lunchtime at the CBA Africa Concours d'Elegance, and there is plenty of food to go around for everybody. The kids are keeping busy at the Brookside Kids Zone, while the adults are having a costume party, as this year's fancy dress competition proved to be one of the most tightly contested.
We are the Frosty-Chonis, gangster family. And now I have to kill you!
The little princess. She's a princess from Buckingham Palace, so I'm her bodyguard. And this is her royal vehicle, Rolls-Royce 1951. And that's our little princess.
The motorcycle winner for this year's competition was Tumaini Muthiga, while Joseph Alawatch came in second yet again this year. His Aladdin costume not enough to beat out Vitafoam Products, who won the fancy dress prize for the cars. In the class for open sports cars made after 1970, last year's winner of the Meritorious Award makes a comeback with his 1984 Panther Kalista. Uganda's Kakuza Wazir has never been a stranger to the limelight. It's even harder to ignore him with a full head of hair and a sidekick. Also in the running is a top 10 finalist from last year, as Savi Bogle returns with his 1972 Alfa Romeo Spider.
My name's Savi Bogle, and I'm bringing you the Alfa Romeo Spider sports car, manufactured in 1972. There's a lot of work that has gone into it over the past 3 years. We're looking at the interior, the engine, the bodywork. For me, the most difficult thing, maintaining the engine. Actually, this time I'm very confident that we are not worried about anything. I'm looking at top position this year.
The top spot, however, goes to the man who won the class last year. Nayan Kavir's 1971 MGB defends its win in the Battle of the Convertibles. And now to what is often the most elegant of all the classes at Concours, the vintage classes. Starting with the class for vintage cars made before 1930, where Team Gicconi are bringing a 1928 International that once shone under the bright lights of Hollywood.
Okay, my name is Ravi Soni. My first time to enter the Concours in 1928 International. This car has got a lot of history. It was driven by Robert Redford and Meryl Streep in the Out of Africa movie. It's in a very good condition, very reliable, and can actually go till South Africa, but very slowly.
Also on the judging line is a car that once posed as a chicken house before being restored back into a 1928 Fiat 109.
So my name's Tor Frost and we brought a Fiat 109 from 1928. For about 30 years it was a chicken house. So when it was originally bought, it was the family car, then it was the farm car, and then it became the chicken coop. And then we sold the farm, and my uncle went back and found it in about 1978, and he took the car back by the guy who owned the farm. So he's allowed to take the car back free of charge, but he had to leave the chickens.
While Joseph Kamal stuns the class for vintage cars made before 1930 by comfortably claiming first place with his 1928 A Fordable pickup. In the class for vintage and post-vintage cars made between 1930 and 1940, Veronica Rowe returns with her third-place boat tail from last year.
I'm Veronica Rowe, and this is a 1934 Rolls-Royce boat tail. It came to Kenya in the 1950s, and it was actually in Kiambu, being used as a milk truck. Can you imagine? I know. I think the only thing that we had last year was some issues with the bodywork. There was just some slight minor issues, and that was the only thing that marked us down. The rest of the car was on par with the winning cars. But no, I'm feeling like we've done a good job on the car this year, so I hope we're going to win, but you never know. Yeah.
So it's Veronica who scoops first place in the class for vintage and post-vintage cars made between 1930 and 1940. That's a wrap for the judging, but before the award ceremony starts, all the competitors come back to receive one last ovation from an enthralled audience. After the Grand Parade is over to the Alfa Romeo Owners Club Chairman, Peter Wandai.
Oh, the event has gone on very well indeed. Good turnout of both competitors and spectators. Some fabulous cars on show, especially some of the first-time entries. So this really made me happy, to see this kind of presentations today.
Finally, to the award ceremony as the event director Bob Dewar announces the prize winners for the 2018 CBA Africa Concours d'Elegance. Starting with the award for the highest place Alfa Romeo, which is, for yet another year, picked up by Gailing Lane. Then to the overall winners, where South Africa's Martin Kaiser clinched the third podium spot with his 1964 Cafe Racer. Dominique Antoine took second place with his 1925 Triumph, his highest ever finish at the Concours. But the biggest story had to go to Peter Gerardo, who became an overall winner for the first time in 26 years. For the cars, Sati Gata Aura yet again missed out on the overall win but claimed third prize with his 1977 Nissan 160J and second place with his 1947 MG TC. The biggest history maker of them all was Veronica Rowe, who became only the second female overall winner since 2008 with her 1934 Rolls-Royce boat tail.
I was aiming for a win. Unfortunately, I'm always second. I don't even know how many years. I'm always second or third, second or third. I do not know why I do not win.
I came second overall, so I'm very, very pleased. I was hoping for a podium, and I got one.
After 25 years of trying since I first entered, 26 years since I first entered the Concours, it means a lot to me and my family and my friends. So I'm very, very happy.
I never expected such a close-fought Concours. Only 1 point separated the winner from the runner-up. And the runner-up and third were on the same score, but the honour went to the older car. You can't have it much closer than that.
A big congratulations to Peter and Veronica on becoming this year's overall winners. For now, we're signing out with Kenyan hip-hop sensation Nyashinski. Goodbye and see you next year at the Nairobi Racecourse on the 29th of September for another gathering of elegance.